Animals are amazing creatures, and it seems like just as soon as we seem to understand our relationship with them, they find new ways to surprise us. Today, we're going to meet a hard-headed elephant, a 2,000-pound beast in need of a dentist, and an entire species that collectively turn to humans for help virtually overnight. Hold on tight, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a look at these 10 animals that asked people for help. Number 10. Backstabber. Driving instructor Brett Wilson was leading a tourist group through a dive in the Cayman Islands when they came across something rather bizarre, a shark with a large kitchen knife sticking out of its head. What exactly happened to lead to this situation is unclear, but one thing was for certain: it needed help. Nurse sharks, who are among the smallest sharks, don't typically attack humans. But this one simply sat still and allowed Brett Wilson to slowly approach. Brett can be seen in a video shot by fellow divers as he approaches and carefully removes the knife from the shark's head. Sure enough, a few days later, the shark was spotted swimming in the same reef, and it appears to have gone on to live a long and presumably happy life, at least compared to the one it would have had a unishark. If you thought this story was shocking, just hang in there, because number 1 is something that has literally never happened at any other point in history. It might never happen again. Number 9. Kitten. A family in Utah was enjoying Thanksgiving when they spotted a small creature lying motionless in the snow. It turned out to be a tiny kitten, and Brandon Bingham was all but sure it was dead. But his brother Justin wasn't going to give up. In front of the fireplace, he started rubbing the kitten, moving him around in his hands and pumping his chest to get the blood flowing. Then, after nearly an hour, the kitten showed a visible breath. Today, the kitten is happy at home with Brandon and his family. Before we go on, like this video, pop the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell right now, or the ghost in your closet will manifest itself tonight. Number 8. Squirrel. This video that resurfaced on Reddit in 2020 shows a man and his young daughter walking along when suddenly they are approached by a squirrel. The squirrel stands on its hind legs and clearly begs the man for a drink from his water bottle. After deciphering what the squirrel wanted, he gladly complied, and the heartwarming video shows the tiny squirrel drinking every last drop of the water from the man's bottle before running off. Number 7. Shark 2. In our second shark-related story today is the story of a group of fishermen whose boat was approached by a shark trapped in a fishing line. This situation can easily prove fatal for marine creatures who suddenly find their ability to hunt impaired by the nets. The shark calmly swims up next to the boat and sits in placing, allowing the crew a chance to safely free it from the net before calmly swimming away. Watching the video, there is no doubt that this shark consciously trusted the men to help it out. Number 6. What does the fox say? Wild foxes typically go well out of their way to avoid interactions with humans. But in 2012, 2 Russian men were walking along a dirt road when a fox came straight to them. But this wasn't just, this was a fox in a bit of a pickle. As it turns out, the little red fox that came scampering up to the men had gotten its head stuck in a glass jar. Not only did this make the fox extra vulnerable to potential predators, it also made it impossible for the fox to eat. As soon as they spotted the fox, one man got to work, helping to free him, while the other filmed the ordeal, because frankly, who was going to believe him otherwise? The video immediately went viral, and while the original account has since been closed, the man's selfless deed has been reposted and shared millions of times in one video alone, having been viewed nearly 1 million times a year since 2013. These men likely never set out to film a viral video, but as much of a hit as they are with humans, I'm pretty sure that fox told its friends a few stories too. Number 5. Like a hole in the head. Back in 2016, at a Zimbabwe National Park, officials received reports of an injured elephant. The elephant, named Pretty Boy, had been shot in the head by poachers. Fortunately though, the elephant's incredibly thick skull prevented the bullet from penetrating. Unfortunately, the bullet became lodged under the elephant's thick skin. In the hopes of preventing infection or undue suffering for Pretty Boy, a team of special veterinarians set out to track him down. Knowing that he was injured and likely scared, officials figured it may take a lengthy search effort to track him down. However, almost immediately upon setting out, the elephant approached them, coming out of some trees and clearly accepting that the team was there to help him. The team tranquilized the massive creature to keep it from flailing and injuring itself or one of the team members trying to help him. Before long, they had cleansed the wound, extracted the bullet, and the Pretty Boy was free to roam again. While Pretty Boy never exactly thanked the vets, I'm pretty sure he was a lot more comfortable in the long run. Number 4. Flipper Clipper. In January of 2013, a group of marine photographers in Kona, Hawaii were swimming with manta rays when a wild bottlenose dolphin started coming closer and closer to them. After a few passes, the dolphin started swimming among the divers. Having a dolphin choose to swim with you would be a pretty cool experience, but soon the team realized that the dolphin wasn't there on a social call. Finally, when it felt comfortable, the dolphin swam slowly beside one of the divers and turned on its side to reveal that its right fin was tangled in a piece of fishing wire and pierced with a fishing hook. Without fail, the dolphin was clearly in discomfort, and the divers didn't hesitate to act. The dolphin waited patiently as one of the divers worked to get the wire free. After a bit of work, they were able to release the dolphin's fin from the wire. However, before they could tend to the hook, the dolphin swam away, leaving the divers with one heck of a video that eventually went viral. With many commending the divers for paying attention to the dolphin's body language, hopefully one day the dolphin will find another group of divers who will finish the job. Number 3. Large-scale dentistry. The approximate weight difference between an Australian teenager and a whale is about 23,000 pounds, so it's hard to imagine what a whale could possibly need from one. But in the case of a large southern right whale, an Australian teenager made the perfect toothpick. Let me explain. In 2015, a teenage boy was out on a fishing boat with 2 friends. While his 2 pals were distracted, the boy was watching an enormous 14-meter right whale that kept surfacing closer and closer to a small fishing boat. The whale could have easily capsized the boat, but it had seemed to take great care to be gentle. Finally, the whale surfaced close enough that the teen was able to see a piece of fishing wire and plastic trash ensnared on one of its teeth. We've all had food stuck on our teeth, and while it was tiny in comparison to the size of the whale, I'm willing to bet it was slightly uncomfortable. Seeing the whale's need and realizing that he was close enough to reach, the teen reached overboard and grabbed hold of the fishing wire, freeing it from the whale's tooth. As soon as it was free, the whale immediately returned to the open sea, making it pretty clear to all involved the whale just needed a little help in the oral hygiene department. Number 2. Raven quills. While ravens are often seen as ominous creatures, it's also no secret that they are highly intelligent. 2013, one raven proved this when it came to the Garrity Cleary of Emsdale, Nova Scotia, Canada, after a particularly sticky encounter with a porcupine. The friendly young raven came and perched on Gertie's fence while she was doing some yard work. When she took a closer look, she noticed that the raven had multiple porcupine quills in one side of its face. She approached the bird, expecting it to fly away as she got closer, but at last it didn't. Donning a pair of gloves, Gertie cautiously approached and began to pull quills from the uninjured bird. After each quill, he'd holler in pain and snap at Gertie's hand, but he never once flew away. Instead, Gertie and the birdie established a rapport as she yanked out several more quills. But the amazing encounter didn't end there. The raven accepted dog food and water from Gertie and hung around the rest of the day before flying off. During the ordeal, Gertie even took time to name the raven Wilfred. Well, here's hoping Wilfred learned his lesson about tangling with quilled creatures. Number 1. A cool sip of water. The devastating Australian bushfires of 2019 and 2020, known as the Black Summer, cost the lives of over 60,000 koalas and created a situation that has never been observed by experts in the wild. Many of the koalas that did manage to survive did so under extreme circumstances, and many emerged from the bush uninjured, burnt, and most vitally, severely dehydrated. This meant that rescuers, volunteers, and ordinary passerby all reported koalas approaching them. Tiny, adorable little marsupials were literally pouring out the fiery forests and begging people for help. Rescuers would wrap up the little guys and feed them water. Historically, koalas go out of their way to avoid humans, but their absolute desperation drove them to put their survival above even their basic instincts. But that isn't even the most astounding part. The even more surprising thing is that koalas don't even drink water. In nature, they get their water intake from the eucalyptus leaves they eat, meaning many koalas will go their entire lives without having fresh water run across their tongue. But in a matter of days, they were forced to change their entire way of life and rose to the challenge, turning to humans for basic survival. And that's all for 10 animals that ask people for help. Which story was your favorite? Have you ever helped an animal in need? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to TechJoint for more incredible videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.